Hello guys, and welcome back. And welcome back to a video which is all about heating, and specifically about this thing. If you've been watching my videos up to now, you'll be aware that I have built an EV, Land Rover Freelander has been converted to electric. However, I have yet to manage to get heat into the cabin. And that's kind of a problem in the winter time, and we're currently right in the middle of winter. In the past I've tried to get the standard Nissan Leaf heater working in the car, but I ran into problems and it's not working, and so I'm having to change to something else. So with that in mind, I ordered this. Now this is, you can see the part number there. This is a water heater, an electric water heater from a Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV plug-in hybrid car. Now I believe this is a 4 kilowatt heater, something like that. Not entirely sure, but it's something in that region. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to test the heater system and basically just get it working. So I've got a 12 volt battery here, which is providing 12 volts to the coolant pump. This is a coolant pump from the Nissan Leaf, and so 12 volts is providing 12 volts for the coolant pump, and it's also providing 12 volts to run the heater. Now unfortunately that's, well, this is a handy little battery I happen to have lying around, but not heavy enough for to power all this, so I have a car battery charger basically just keeping this topped up, and as you can see it's currently sitting at 14 volts. So at the moment that is on this switch. If I want to put on the 12 volts, I just flick that switch and then this pump should start going and pumping. At the moment it's just water, but it should start pumping it through the system. This switch will provide 12 volts to this contactor, and that contactor will then turn on the high voltage battery, which is basically just 20 of these little 12 volt batteries, so 240 volts, something like that, 240, 250 volts. So that's what that's all about. And when I flick that switch and this contactor goes on, it then puts the full 250 volts through this little junction box and into the heater. So this heater runs at the full battery voltage. Now if you're even considering getting yourself one of these, they're really simple to run. This cable on the right is your positive, this one on the left is your negative. I think I have that sort of marked out there, and the connections here, which hopefully you can see, bottom two are CAN. Yellow is positive 12 volts, grey is minus 12 volts. So I'm sort of holding you upside down at the minute. What I've also got going on is I have a little Arduino Nano, and the Arduino Nano is going through an MCP2515, I think it is, CAN controller or CAN adapter. So that's connected to that, and we're monitoring what's going on using SavvyCAN and also using the serial monitor on the Arduino. So this Arduino Nano is controlling the hot water heater. The way it does that is using this potentiometer. The potentiometer is connected with one side of the potentiometer on ground, the other side on plus 5 volts or VCC, and the wiper, the middle connection, is going to A0. Now that's just the way it's set up in this particular instance. I'm using software, a software sketch provided by Jamie from the Open Inverter forum. I'm no expert in this. I'm just basically standing on the shoulders of others here. What I'll do is I'll put on the 12 volts. Now unfortunately the water pump is a little noisy, but hopefully it'll not be too bad. So put on the 12 volts and that should start the water pump. But it should also start this giving a different... let's try and restart that. This is the serial monitor, doesn't seem to want to play very well. Just change it back to 15200. Okay, so now you can see that we are actually getting a desired water temperature, which is currently set to 59. So if I was to tweak this, say I turned it to the left, that desired water temperature has now jumped up to 88 or 89. And if I was to tweak it the other way, so turn it all the way to the right, that desired water temperature should now, refresh this, has now gone down to 40. So the minimum temperature that this is set to request is 40 degrees, and the maximum is 89. And I can change those settings. I don't really need 89, to be honest. That's probably a little bit on the high side. But what I'll do is I'll now turn on, I'll just get this current meter reading, and I will turn on the high voltage. So that should bring that contactor in, and we should start to see something happening here. It may be that I need to turn this pot a little bit to get that to work. I shall turn it and try and get a desired temperature of, there's 50 degrees. And here we are now seeing 2 amps, 2.5, almost 3 amps going in. So we're now getting 3 amps being drawn by the heater, and that should start to produce warmth in the pipe fairly soon. It's actually climbing now to 5 amps. So the desired temperature is 51 and the actual temperature is currently still at 12 degrees. So hopefully that will start to change soon. We're now drawing 6 amps. Now this is 6 amps at 250 volts, so we're talking about 2.5 kilowatts or thereabouts. It's being drawn, and this is starting to get a little bit warm, a little bit warmer. The temperature is, let me just refresh that, temperature 14, 15 degrees. It's slowly starting to climb. And we're starting to get temperature into the water pipe. Still cold, still feels cold to the touch. But it would do at 16 degrees, 17. You see there it's slowly starting to climb. At the moment the pump is just going full tilt because I haven't got it being controlled by... You can control these things from an Arduino quite easily. It's not quite as cold as it was. And the top of this is starting to warm up. We're getting 22 degrees now, so it's starting to climb. Yeah, starting to feel a little bit of warmth now. We're still drawing 7 amps from the high voltage battery pack, and the voltage here is starting to drop because the coolant pump is actually drawing quite a lot of voltage, quite a lot of current. So I think I maybe need to change that for a slightly heavier battery. But for testing purposes, this is okay. We're getting 28 degrees now. And yep, I can feel warmth here. This is nice and warm. Not hot, just warm. The top of this is now warm. Still drawing 8 amps. I'm very interested to see what happens when it gets to 50 degrees. I haven't seen that yet. I've only just got the temperature control working on this by getting this connected correctly. I had it wrongly connected last time I tested this, but you can see things are going quite nicely. Yep, that's quite a lot, nice and warm. It's 36 degrees, 37 degrees, and we're actually getting more, drawing more current. There's 88 amps, 8.3. Yep, nice and warm. And we're at 40 degrees. Okay guys, we're going to have to replace this battery with something a little bit heavier and start this one again. Right, so we've added another 4 of these batteries, all wired in series and connected through this cable and just hooked up there. So should have plenty of current this time. Turned on again, see what happens. Pump is starting up and it's good. Current, let's see if this starts up. I don't know if I need to do anything different. I need to turn on the high voltage, maybe that would help. Good, so that's climbing again. We'll just see what our temperatures are at here. Okay, the temperature is currently at 47 degrees, so it hasn't dropped too far. 47 degrees. That's good. Let's see if it goes up. The desired temperature is 51, so let's see where it stops. Current is 5 amps. And we are very close to, where are we at it? We're at 50. Okay, the desired water temperature is 51 degrees. The actual water temperature is 51 degrees. And the current has dropped to 0, or near enough 0. Oh, that's good. So let's see, temperature's actually overshot slightly, so it's now 52. 53 now. Still not getting any current here. Nice and warm on the top. There's a very small loop here of coolant, so obviously it's not cooling down very quickly. I notice this thing tends to get very hot as well. It's now got the stage where it's almost too hot to hold my hand on it. So residual heat in this is causing the temperature here to overshoot, but we're now down to 52 degrees. Still no current, and we're now at 51 and 51. So the desired water temperature is 51. The actual water temperature is 51. So what we'll do is keep an eye on that, and when that drops to 50, I'm hoping that this will start to give some current again. I don't want to play with this, I want to just let it sit. I don't want to change the setting at all using that. I want to wait until the temperature drops. Oh, right, I must have dropped. You see the current has now jumped to 3 amps. And that has dropped to 50 degrees centigrade. So that should fairly quickly go back up again. And we should see that current dropping to 0. Okay, we've got a temperature 51 now, and that's dropped to 0. So it's working perfectly. That's exactly what I want. In the last couple of days, this little thing here just arrived, and this is a I2C OLED display, and these things are £2-3 off eBay, really cheap, and as you can see, it is indicating that everything is turned off at the moment. Right now the 12 volts and the high voltage is turned off, So it doesn't matter what I do with this knob, I can turn it either way and it doesn't make any difference, because it can see that the heater isn't getting 12 volts. But as soon as I turn on the 12 volts for this, now apologies for the noise, the pump will come on. Okay, so just for testing purposes, I have the coolant pump disabled. So if I turn on the 12 volts to the heater, we should now start to see, or this should now go live, and the CAN connections from the heater are going through to this little device. So if I start to turn this in an anti-clockwise direction, it starts to request heat. So it's requesting 58 degrees. The current temperature, I think, is probably 6 degrees, and that'll be about right. It's 6 degrees in the garage. So not sure why it's flashing so much. That may be down to bad connections here, I'm not sure. But I can turn that off and on again and see if it makes any difference. Just pull the plug. I'm just getting 12 volts from, or getting the voltage to power the Arduino from this. Okay, not sure why that's flashing. It may just be bad connections. Not sure. I wasn't doing that earlier. Okay guys, well I think the problem there was I had no termination on the network at all, so it was a bit glitchy to say the least. So we now have one end terminated. I haven't terminated the other end, but it's no big deal. It's enough to get this working. We can see we're now getting 5 amps being drawn from the high voltage, and the temperature is climbing. It was at 6, it's now at 7. Brilliant. So that's working. It's working a treat. We've now got a display which is telling us the temperature that the water is at and the temperature that's being requested. We can change the temperature requested with the potentiometer. So what I need to do now is to get my car into the garage, get the water heater that's not working out of it and get this one into it, and I will have heat, because currently I do not have any heat in my car, and when I'm driving in the winter it's very cold. It's also difficult to keep the windscreen clear, so this will make a huge difference to the drivability of the car in the winter time. Okay guys, now you've seen the heater working. I had originally intended that this sort of getting the heater working and getting it installed would all be a single video. However, getting it installed turned out to be a bit of a bigger job than I expected, and instead of taking a couple of days, it took a couple of weeks to do. So we're going to end it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully you've maybe learned a thing or two, and so thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.